the focus, the stress on modernization and security through development made many of our partners change their point of view on the prospects of development with our country. And this primarily concerns our relationship with the leading countries of the European Union. And it was not me, but Donald Rumsfeld, who called old Europe, Germany, Italy, France. And I think that I haven't omitted anyone. These are the main partners, even by the volume of trade, not money-wise speaking, but by the level of cooperation and judging by the level of cooperation and interdependence that we have developed over the past 10 years at least. And it has increased considerably. Our foreign economic interests develop on the bilateral level, but also within our interaction in international organizations. As an example, I can use BRIC, which is well known to many, which is an efficient and effective instrument of multipolar cooperation. Another important aspect that I want to mention, a distinctive feature of the multipolar system is the growing importance of the regional level, regional governing of. We see that more and more in financial and economical regions take lead. They undertake functions of governing a particular region. I would not list them here, but there are many of them, both in the West and in the East and in Asia. And this trend will preserve and will continue. And there's another element of multipolarity. Just summing up, the more centers of economic development we have and financial support and related political influence, the more sustainable in the final effect the global system become based on efficient economy. There are a number of negative examples here as well, but just in brief I would like to mention them. From the point of security, from the new in the new way of understanding this notion, we should say that there are no less problems in the world. There are more and more unmanageable territories in the world, not states, states that have anthem flag, and maybe they have a place in the United Nations, but they have nothing else. They are failed states. They are those that cannot ensure just basic social and economic needs of their population, and that means that their major resources are spent on supporting these territories, on virtually feeding this population of these territories. Well, as for Russia, it is continuously building up its cooperation both in the East and in the West, and we should not make any artificial choice. Just to explain it in a very simple way, I want to use a historic thing, our state emblem. If our foreign guests have forgotten this or have not noticed it, it's a double-headed eagle. One of the heads looks to the west and the other looks to the east, and that explains everything. We're Eurasian country, Eurasian state, judging by our mentality. and culture were closer to Europe, to the West, but two-thirds of our territory is in the East, in Asia. So it is equally important for us to develop economic, financial, and cultural ties, both with the states that are conventionally referred to the East and to the West. So each choice between each time we have to choose between the East and the West is a value for us in itself. If you allow me 2 more minutes, I want to say a couple of words about the East. If by the East, in the narrow sense, we mean Asian Pacific region without Middle East problems and without Afghanistan, without Iran, because otherwise our discussion will be very long and very complex one. So if we take only Asian Pacific region, this is a very important region for implementation of our national interests. And here we participate in major Asian and Pacific institutions, organizations, ASEAN including. Russia has a continuous policy of transparent architecture of cooperation. As for the Shanghai Organization for Cooperation, you know that it develops continuously and harmonically, and it is becoming more and more attractive for many states. There is a whole line of those who want to apply for membership or at least become observers in the Shanghai Treaty Organization. If that organization were of no interest for them, they would not line for many years. So Shanghai Treaty Organization is a very important element of multipolar world from the economic point of view as well. In 2012, there will be Asian Pacific Summit in Vladivostok, and then there will be ASEAN summits, and Russia will pay much attention to mutually interesting economic cooperation with that region. South Korea, by the way, is an important player because lately we have established quite positive cooperation in high technology sector, space technologies. South Korea now is actively developing its space programs. You may remember that for the first time, South Korean a spaceship was launched, and the first stage of it, the first component of it, was manufactured in Russia. So, in conclusion, I'd like to say that the coming decade in general will be determined both for Russia and not only for it, or better say, the success or lack of success for Russia and for other countries will be determined by flexibility in responding to the fluctuation of economic situation and to the ability to adjust to the level of technological development, ability to introduce technological achievements quickly, and this will determine our economy. At the very beginning, you asked me, and I cannot ignore this question, about strong and weak points of Russia. As any big state, Russia has weak and strong points. I will not speak about strong points. I will mention only weak ones. Labor productivity is low and not competitive at all in Russia. For the time currently, Russian people have learned to live comfortably with their salaries growing, irrespective of the fact whether the whether labor productivity is growing or not. This is our weak point. Energy consumption is enormous. It cannot compete with any developed economy. We recognize this and we try to correct the situation. Well, what else should I add to the list of weak points? Well, I think that's enough for the beginning, and I believe that there will be more opponents who would contribute. Well, we will not open all our weak points.